Welcome to Auto News Talk. Imagine this. A customer is sitting on their couch, buying a $65,000 truck from their smartphone at midnight while the local dealership is completely dark.
Yeah, fast asleep.
Exactly. The auto industry isn't just, changing a little bit. It is being fundamentally rewired from the ground up.
Oh, absolutely.
We're watching this massive transformation of what you drive, how you buy it, and, well, who actually holds the real power in the market. I'm your host, and we're going to map out this crazy shifting terrain for you in this deep dive.
Yeah, and the landscape we are walking through is, it's incredibly complex. We aren't just looking at cars rolling off an assembly line anymore.
Right.
What we are really exploring is this full-speed collision between traditional auto retail and the digital revolution.
It's like two worlds smashing together.
Exactly. I mean, the vehicle cabin is turning into a high-powered computer, the sales lot is migrating to your phone, and the very concept of the physical dealership is just under siege.
From all sides, right.
Yeah, from new internal tech strategies and massive digital retailers.
So let's start with the very first thing you, the customer, actually see when you look at a new car, which is the product itself.
The physical vehicle.
Right. Automakers are leaning so heavily into digital real estate just to get you in the door. There's this one source that does a detailed breakdown of the redesigned Chevrolet Silverado 1500 interior, and it paints a vivid picture of this.
It really does.
They are treating the cabin overhaul almost like a Silicon Valley hardware launch.
That's a great way to put it. The focus is just overwhelmingly on technology upgrades, paired with these highly specific upscale interior themes.
Right.
The source covering the redesign notes that every single new model is going to feature a massive 16.3-inch center touchscreen.
16.3 inches, that's like a laptop monitor.
Basically, yeah. And it's paired with a 12.2-inch digital gauge cluster.
Wow, it's essentially a command center. You step into this truck and the dashboard feels like an entirely new medium.
Oh, for sure. But, the underlying tension there is fascinating.
How so?
Well, even with these gigantic screens mounted in this sleek, parallelogram-shaped bezel, Chevrolet specifically retained physical controls for things like the climate settings, the towing functions, and the all-wheel drive system.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they even kept a physical volume knob.
Thank goodness. So it feels like a smartphone, but wrapped in a heavy-duty power tool.
Exactly. And that specific design choice reveals how automakers view the cognitive load on their core buyer. They know that truck owners are often wearing, thick work gloves.
Right. Or they need to make immediate tactile adjustments while hauling a huge trailer.
Exactly. Forcing a driver to dig through 3 submenus on a glass screen just to turn on the defroster, that's a safety hazard.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
But they are aggressively pairing that blue-collar practicality with true luxury. The reporting highlights how higher trims are getting incredibly specific identities.
Oh, like what?
So the ZR2 gets these really aggressive torch red accents on the dashboard and seatbelts, plus this forged carbon fiber trim.
Okay, very sporty. And then you swing over to the high country trim and the environment completely changes.
Totally. It's all natural tan accents,
Yeah.
real wood trim featuring open pore textures, and they're even offering a panoramic sunroof.
Wait, really? A panoramic sunroof in a Silverado?
Yeah, which is a first for the Silverado, according to the source.
That's wild. So the broader implication here is that the cabin is no longer just about driving comfort or, having enough cup holders.
Right. It functions as a critical tech hub designed to capture the consumer's imagination before the engine even turns over. The interior software interface is basically the new battleground for brand loyalty.
That strategy makes total sense on paper, but I have to wonder about the ceiling for this kind of premium tech. I mean, is there a limit to how much screen space a driver actually wants before it just becomes a massive visual distraction?
It's a fair question.
We're putting, cinema-sized screens in the same place we used to put a simple radio dial. It's like an IMAX theater in there.
Yeah, cognitive overload is a very real concern. But the more pressing limitation, and the open question this reporting doesn't really answer, is the final cost equation.
Right. The price tag.
Yeah. With the previous generation's high country starting well over $65,000, how much of a premium will buyers ultimately be willing to pay for these massive screens and upscale materials?
That's true. The technological achievement is undeniable, but the profit margins required to sustain it remain a massive open question.
Exactly.
And think about this. If buyers are deciding on these $65,000 rolling computers at midnight, the traditional 9-to-5 dealership is suddenly totally obsolete.
Oh, yeah. Completely. It forces local dealers into an immediate technological arms race.
Right. Another source zeroes in on this. The industry is scrambling to catch these buyers where they are.
Yeah, there's an industry analysis on dealership lead conversion that brings in some really eye-opening McKinsey data. It reveals a staggering shift in consumer behavior.
What's the shift?
56% of new auto dealership leads come in after normal business hours.
Wait, over half.
Over half.
So the vast majority of the heavy lifting, like comparing the inventory, configuring those massive touchscreens, figuring out the financing, it's all happening while the physical showroom is completely dark.
Exactly. And here is the truly memorable detail from that analysis.
Yeah.
Even though all those leads are pouring in at night, only 37% of dealerships manage to respond within an hour.
Wow. Only 37%.
Yeah, the implication is profound. We are seeing a complete shift in metrics. Time to action is rapidly replacing sheer lead volume as the single most critical metric for a dealership survival.
That makes sense because if a buyer makes a ton of mental progress on their couch at midnight, submits a question about a test drive, and then just gets absolute radio silence until a salesman clocks in the next morning.
The momentum is gone.
Exactly, that psychological momentum completely breaks.
Right. The first dealership to engage that late-night shopper wins the showroom visit. And the analysis makes a very clear distinction about how that engagement happens.
Like the technology they use?
Yeah. Basic, rules-based chatbots. You know, the ones that just ask for your email and say someone will call you back.
Oh, those are so annoying.
They are actively hurting conversion, according to the source. Dealerships need advanced conversational AI. They need systems that can analyze the context of the question and actually move the customer down the funnel.
Like actually doing the work of a salesperson.
Exactly. Whether that means scheduling a test drive or calculating an estimated payment based on real-time inventory data.
Okay, let me push back on that for a second, because relying on software to close a car deal feels like a huge leap of faith for a business built on handshakes.
Sure.
Can an AI agent truly handle the extreme nuance of a complex trade-in negotiation? For example, say a customer is upside down on a loan, meaning they owe the bank way more money than their current car is actually worth.
Very common scenario.
Right, and let's say that car has severe body damage. Can an algorithm really untangle that financial mess? Or is this AI just a high-tech way to stall the customer and buy time until a humie arrives with their coffee?
That scenario highlights the exact limitation of this technology. What the data doesn't fully answer yet is where the ceiling is for automated trust.
Right.
We know AI can route leads efficiently, but unraveling a negative equity situation requires a level of empathy and creative financial structuring that a language model simply cannot execute. The heavy financial lifting still demands a human touch.
Yeah, that makes sense. But arming a dealership with that kind of advanced conversational AI to handle those midnight leads in the first place comes with a massive price tag.
Oh, the huge one.
Which brings us to a fascinating rebellion happening inside the dealership offices themselves. If the tech is eating their margins, some dealers are deciding to just build it themselves.
Yeah, the power dynamics are starting to shift dramatically here. There's an article by used car operations specialist Mike P. Johnson, and he outlines how dealerships are fighting back against intense subscription fatigue.
Because they're just bleeding money to software vendors.
Exactly. They're using AI to fundamentally change their own internal economics, shifting from tech consumers to tech creators.
And Johnson shares this incredibly specific, painful example of a dealer principal-like, the owner and top executive of a 200-unit store.
Right.
This owner audited his operational expenses and realized he was paying $14,200 a month just to renew 6 vendor contracts.
14 grand.
Just on software subscriptions. We're talking about a website provider, a digital retailing widget, reconditioning software, an AI chat add-on, and a marketing agency. It is death by 1,000 software subscriptions.
And keep in mind that 14 grand is before they even pay for their core CRM.
Which is the most important part.
Right, their customer relationship management software, which is the massive database housing every person who has ever walked onto the lot. Because of this massive overhead, the operational strategy is completely shifting.
So what are they doing instead?
Instead of hiring expensive external software teams or signing new vendor contracts, dealers are beginning to identify internal AI specialists from among their existing staff.
And these aren't like computer science graduates they're recruiting from universities, right?
No, not at all. These are the employees on the lot who are already naturally good at building complex spreadsheets or figuring out workflow hacks to make their day go faster.
So Johnson points out that these internal specialists are using widely available AI tools to build custom solutions in-house.
Exactly. They are writing scripts to automate the cleanup of that massive CRM database, identifying dead leads and refreshing them.
Wow.
They are optimizing ad campaigns on the fly and even automating the incredibly repetitive manual task of posting every piece of used inventory to Facebook Marketplace.
That's brilliant. I mean, the implication of this shift is huge. AI adoption isn't just about buying a shiny new tech toy for the website anymore.
No, not at all.
It is transitioning into a core operational strategy that cuts out the software middleman and gives power and profit margins back to the local dealer.
Exactly.
But I have a highly skeptical question here.
Let's hear it.
Isn't it incredibly risky for a local, family-owned car dealer to suddenly try and play tech startup?
Oh, the risk is substantial. And what the article leaves completely open is the hard performance data.
Right. Does it actually work?
Right. A clever employee might be able to piece together a basic digital retailing widget using an AI coding assistant. But how well does that homegrown tool actually convert a sale compared to the heavily tested platforms built by professional vendors?
Yeah, because building a functional tool is one thing, but optimizing it for consumer psychology and conversion is an entirely different science.
Exactly. If your homegrown checkout widget crashes while a customer is trying to finalize a truck purchase at 1 in the morning...
Yeah. You didn't just save a few $100 on a subscription, you lost a $40,000 sale.
Precisely.
But while these traditional local dealers are looking inward, trying to hack together software to fight off vendors, a massive digital giant is literally parking a tank on their front lawn.
Yeah, this is a huge story. We are seeing a major strategic pivot from Carvana.
Right.
Reporting on their latest corporate moves reveals they're stepping far outside their strictly online used car retail model.
Which is what they're famous for.
Exactly. Another source points out they have actively acquired 7 new vehicle franchises, primarily Stellantis brands.
Okay, for context, Stellantis is the massive global parent company that builds Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. This move feels a bit like Amazon suddenly deciding to buy up physical shopping malls. It completely flips the script.
It really does.
Why would the ultimate online disruptor, a company built entirely on avoiding physical lots, want the heavy burden of a traditional franchise?
Well, the underlying mechanism here is about feeding their central machine. Buying these localized franchises gives Carvana direct access to new car sales, sure, but more importantly, it gives them access to exclusive, dealer-only vehicle auctions and a steady stream of local trade-ins.
So it's a pipeline.
Yes, it is a strategic move to fuel their massive used car inventory. And the volume they are capable of pushing through a physical location is staggering.
The numbers in the reporting are just wild. Look at their Casa Grande, Arizona location.
Yeah, that's the prime example.
Before Carvana took over, that traditional local dealership was moving maybe 30 to 50 cars a month. After Carvana acquired the franchise, they sold over 700 new vehicles in a single month.
700. That specific detail shows the sheer force of Carvana's hub-and-spoke centralized logistics network. A traditional local dealer relies almost entirely on community foot traffic and local advertising.
Right, the guy waving the sign on the corner.
Exactly. Carvana points a massive national digital audience at a single physical location and just ships the inventory. The implication is that their digital infrastructure could fundamentally threaten the traditional localized dealership model in a way we have never seen before.
But the digital world has infinite scale, and the physical world has actual rules. And that's where I wonder if this strategy hits a regulatory wall.
That remains the ultimate open question here. What remains to be seen is if Carvana can successfully navigate the incredibly strict, highly regulated state-by-state automaker franchise rules.
Right, because selling a vehicle online is one process.
But scaling the heavy hands-on service and parts operations, which require physical bays, trained technicians, and represent the real profit centers that keep traditional dealers afloat, is an entirely different beast.
Yeah.
The source notes that Stellantis has explicitly stated that Carvana must meet the exact same physical showroom and service standards as any other franchisee.
So if we look at the board so far, we have high-speed digital disruption everywhere. We have cinema screens in the dashboard, AI negotiating with buyers at midnight, local dealers coding their own software, and Carvana supercharging physical lots with national logistics.
It's moving incredibly fast.
But amidst all this frictionless, high-speed buying, there is one major market shift where the entire industry is hitting a massive human roadblock.
Yeah, the irony of this entire digital transformation is what is happening with electric vehicles.
A completely different story.
Totally different. A different source brings in research from Swansway Motor Group regarding EV adoption, and it highlights a profound lack of consumer confidence. Despite all the technological advancements in the vehicles themselves, the human element is severely lagging.
The research shows a stubborn, undeniable reality. 2/3 of UK drivers still have absolutely no plans to switch to an EV. None.
The anxieties driving that hesitation are highly practical and rooted in daily routine. Buyers are incredibly anxious about public charging infrastructure, the reality of range in cold weather, and what daily ownership actually requires.
It's scary for people.
It is. The reporting notes a very specific contrast. Even though Swansway has successfully supplied over 7,500 EVs to retail customers, their data shows that deep hesitancy remains the norm across the broader public, not the exception.
So dealerships are having to execute a massive pivot. A salesperson can't just throw the keys at a customer and say, enjoy the new screens. Right?
Oh, you have to become patient physics teacher.
Seriously. They have to explain the difference between level 1 trickle charging from a standard garage wall outlet versus the electrical requirements of installing a dedicated level 2 home charger.
They have to explain how battery kilowatts translate to real-world highway range.
But let's be real about the showroom floor for a second. Are we really expecting car salespeople whose entire historical compensation model is built on moving metal as fast as possible to suddenly become infrastructure consultants?
That is the central friction point of the EV transition. The implication from the Swansway research is that the physical dealership remains the absolute critical linchpin in consumer adoption.
Because people need a human.
Exactly. All the midnight online research in the world cannot replace the physical reassurance of a human being opening a charging port and explaining how to actually plug the vehicle in. The dealer is the first point of human contact for a highly hesitant, confused buyer.
It requires a completely different skill set from the salesperson. It demands empathy over efficiency.
However, the limitation of this reality, and the open question raised by the research, is whether this slow, highly methodical educational approach can actually scale fast enough.
Because the clock is ticking.
Right. Governments around the world have set aggressive phase-out deadlines for internal combustion engines. Human education takes a tremendous amount of time, and the clock on those mandates is ticking very loudly.
We have covered a massive amount of ground in this deep dive, from the dashboard screens to the dealership back office. How do we pull these various pieces of evidence together into a coherent picture of where the automotive industry is actually heading?
Well, when we synthesize all these sources, 3 undeniable themes emerge across the landscape. First, we see the digitization of everything.
Okay.
This is supported directly by the massive digital real estate dominating the new Silverado cabin and the absolute reliance on advanced conversational AI to capture those late-night shoppers. Both the physical product and the sales process are fundamentally becoming software.
Right. The car is a computer, and the path to buying it is an algorithm.
Exactly. Second, we are seeing rapidly shifting power dynamics. We see Carvana using their digital might and national logistics to invade the physical franchise space, threatening traditional local monopolies.
Yeah, that Amazon mall analogy.
Right. But simultaneously, we see those local dealers identifying internal AI specialists to cut out expensive software vendors and take control of their own tech stack. Every player is trying to own the full ecosystem and push out the middlemen.
It is a total land grab for control of the customer data.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the third theme is the education gap. This is supported directly by the Swansway research, which proves that the massive hesitancy around EVs requires an entirely new, deeply human kind of customer service that no algorithm can provide.
Which naturally brings up some intense contradictions in how the industry is operating.
Oh, major contradictions. The landscape is defined by 2 major tensions right now. The first is the friction between Carvana's streamlined, high-volume digital sales model and the highly regulated, service-heavy reality of running a traditional physical franchise.
Because the digital world wants infinite scale, but the physical world demands service bays and local compliance.
Perfectly said. And the second tension is even deeper. The industry's intense push for ultimate automated efficiency, using AI to answer midnight leads and trimming vendor costs through internal software, is clashing directly with the intense need for slow, patient, human-to-human education required to actually sell an EV.
Right. You cannot automate empathy when a buyer is terrified of running out of battery on the highway.
You really can't.
So, for the person listening to this right now, what is the ultimate takeaway from all these shifting pieces?
The practical takeaway is that to survive in this new era, successful players in the auto industry can no longer just sell metal. They have to manage an entire ecosystem.
An ecosystem.
Yeah. Whether that means mastering the software interface in the dashboard to keep the driver engaged, building custom AI tools to manage the back office, or having the patience to guide a nervous buyer through their very first electrical charge. The product is no longer just the car. The product is the entire connected experience.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. As we wrap up this segment of Auto News Talk, here is a final thought to mull over. As the car essentially becomes a rolling computer and the dealership operates more and more like a software company optimizing algorithms, the ultimate, rarest luxury in the modern car buying experience might just end up being a patient, knowledgeable human being.
A luxury that simply cannot be coded.
Next time you look at a car ad or step onto a lot, ask yourself a simple question. Are they trying to sell you a vehicle, or are they really trying to sell you their technology? Keep an eye on that distinction. Thanks for joining us on Auto News Talk, and we will catch you next time.